um, studying the prophecy of Ezekiel. And we finished last week looking at Ezekiel 13, and we were discussing the concept or the truth or the teaching and precept of straight truth itself, as we looked at Ezekiel chapter 13. Today, we're looking at Ezekiel 14. As we finished 13, we're looking at 14 tonight, at least part of it. And before we do, as is our norm, I would like us to, in preparation of looking at this, I would like us to look at a couple of other scriptures. First of all, we would like to remind ourselves and remind the audience that as we're studying the prophecy of Ezekiel, let me just test the mic before we continue. Testing 1, 2, 3. I want to make sure you can hear me. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Okay, very good. In preparation, as we're getting ready to go into this prophecy of Ezekiel, I want to remind us of a couple of points. First of all, I want to remind us that as you're looking at Ezekiel, I want you to notice that the conversation in the book of Ezekiel is a conversation between the Creator, the Father, and the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob by blood. And the intermediary in that conversation is the prophet Ezekiel. And this is the case throughout the Bible, as we have pointed out on many occasions. All the prophets of the Bible were Israelites. All of them were from Abraham's seed. All the prophets of the Bible from Abraham's seed. And all of them were basically intermediaries or mouthpieces that the Creator used to speak to his people. And so it's the same here in Ezekiel. The prophet is speaking to the nation of Israel. He's speaking, of course, about future events. That's what prophecy is. And we talked about this from the book of Revelation. And let's just remind ourselves, we studied Revelation. We looked at Revelation, and Revelation gave us a definition of prophecy, as well as the book of Revelation itself, which is a book of prophecy. It also served to give us a Bible definition of what prophecy is. Notice Revelation chapter 1. Revelation chapter 1. I'm going to read Revelation 1 from verse 1 to verse, from Revelation 1, verse 1. I'm going to read from to 1 and 2. Revelation chapter 1, verse 1 and verse 2. Notice what it said. The revelation of Yashar'AL, Messiah, which Yahweh gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant Yashar'AL, who bear record of the word of Yahweh and of the testimony of the Messiah Yahushua, and of all things which he saw. So it tells us here that the Father gave this revelation of Messiah to Messiah. And then Messiah turned around and gave it to John by way of an angel. And John bore witness of what was given to him from heaven. And it's the same with every prophet. Every prophet is an Israelite, as was John, bearing witness of a message that originates with the Father and comes through the Messiah and comes by an angel. And in all of these handoffs between the Father to the Messiah to the angel to John, this message is understood by the Father's Spirit. The Father's Spirit is bearing the message through these vessels, even through the John himself. So the Father's Spirit came to the Messiah. Messiah gave that Spirit with that message to the angel. The angel carried that Spirit with the message to John, and through the power of that Spirit, John bears witness of the message. And he bears witness of the message to the chosen people, his chosen. Does that make sense? Everybody got me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Everybody understand that? Because that is the same chain of events that takes place whenever a prophet is speaking. That's why it's important that a person, when they are taking on the mantle of a prophet, that they be real and true and authentic. Because if they are not real and true and authentic, then they become what? A false prophet, which is misrepresenting the Father, right? So if the Father, if a person is a false prophet, then they are speaking or bearing witness to a message that they are claiming is coming from the Heavenly Father, but in fact, it is not coming from the Heavenly Father. So they are bearing a false witness and they are deceiving the people. Okay, is that pretty clear? Everybody got that? Okay, so that so far what we got. So Ezekiel is a prophet. So then a true prophet. So he is bearing witness of a message from the Father through the Messiah by an angel, all through his Spirit. And that Spirit is bearing witness to the Ezekiel, and Ezekiel is bearing witness of the Father's message. And he's giving this message to the children of Israel, his chosen people. Okay? Now, let us look at Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. Exodus 20. And let us begin at verse 1, Exodus 20, and go from verse 1 down to verse 5. Exodus 20 from 1 to 5. And Elohim spake, excuse me, let me start again. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, thy most high, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other Elohim before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh thy most high, am a jealous most high, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Okay. First off, I just want to make sure we see what is being said here. Do you see that this conversation is between the Creator, who has introduced himself as Yahweh, and to the people that he brought out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage? Do you see that? So this conversation is between the people and the Creator. Now, in the case of this Exodus chapter 20, Moses was generally used as the prophet. Moses was the intermediary. But in this particular case, the people did not even have Moses as the intermediary, because the words were being thundered from the top of Mount Sinai, and all the people heard them directly. So he was speaking to our fathers in the wilderness directly these words. And he's telling them, I brought you out of bondage, out of slavery, and I am your God that did it. And I don't want you to have any other gods but me. See, generally speaking, right? I think generally speaking, tell me if I'm wrong, if you've understood this that I'm about to say. Generally speaking, the earth believes, particularly Christianity and Islam and Judaism. These people believe that these commandments were given to the entire world. But what we're reading here is that that's not the case. The commandments were given to the people that were brought out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Is that true or not? I mean, did we just read that? They weren't given to everybody. It was given to these particular people. Okay? Now, somebody might ask, so are you saying, brother, that the rest of the earth are not to obey these commandments? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is these particular people were designed to obey these commandments, and then they were set up or ordained, that's the better word, they were ordained to teach the earth these commandments. How do I know that? How do I know that? First, let's look at this same Exodus in the previous chapter, chapter 19, and I'm going to read verse 3 through 6, which we read many times. But just to understand the relationship between these commandments and the rest of the earth, let's look at these verses here. And Moses went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. So Moses again is being sent with a message. The message is to the house of Jacob, the children of Israel. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, is the message, and how I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you, that is you children of Jacob, unto myself, the Creator. Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, that's chapter 20, we just read in the covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine, and ye, that is you children of Israel, shall be unto me, the Creator, a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So these 10 commandments, which are the covenant, was given specifically to the nation of Israel, for the nation of Israel to teach the earth as the people chosen above all people to do that. Are you following me so far? Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that pretty clear? So these commandments were not given to Babylon. They weren't given to Egypt. They weren't given to Germany or Italy or UK or Russia. They were given to this peculiar people, the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that covenant between them and the Creator is binding. And is binding upon them and their children. And they are to teach the earth about this covenant. Now, in that ordained chain of events, if there is a break in that chain, the earth is in trouble. So if somehow that it doesn't work in this particular manner, the earth will have a problem, because this is the ordained way that the Creator has ordained to reach the earth with his message. Okay? Now, again, I want you to tell me if this is unfamiliar or if it's something that I'm telling you that you didn't know before, and confirm if what I'm saying is true. Are we not taught in this earth, in this millennium, are we not taught that all Muslims, all Christians, all Ashkenazis worship the same God? Aren't we taught that all three of these major religions worship the same God? That no, that if you're a Baptist, or you're a Pentecostal, or you're a Jehovah's Witness, or you're a Mormon, or you're a Seventh-day Adventist, or whatever you are, Lutheran, you all go to different denominations, but you all worship the same God. Isn't that the common teaching today? And of course, this cannot be true. Why can it not? It is impossible that this should be true. Why? Because the Most High here in Exodus chapter 20 that we just read plainly tells Jacob's children not to worship other gods. By virtue of him saying to the nation of Israel, do not worship other gods, there must be other gods that they can choose to worship, even if they're false gods. If there was no possibility of anybody bowing down or worshiping some other god, he wouldn't have said, thou shalt have no other gods, make any images, bow down or serve anything else. He wouldn't have said that. Also, since he's very specific that we should worship him who delivered Israel from Egypt, since he's very specific about that, you would say he's specific, obviously, about how he wants to be worshipped, right? I mean, he's being particular about how he wants to be worshipped, right? So, therefore, if he has chosen this one group of people and he's told them specifically how he wants to worship, if you got Jehovah's Witnesses calling him Jehovah and saying that their watchtower is the truth, and you got Mormons in Utah saying that he's white Jesus and he came out to speak to Joseph Smith and they should have 50 wives, including little children. If you got SDA saying that Ellen White is the true prophet and we all used to be watching what she said, equal with the Bible in the last day. If you got all of these different religions saying these different things, then either somebody's wrong or that same God that everybody worship must be confused. He must be confused. And I don't think he's confused. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. But because people are taught that all of us worship, listen carefully, all of us worship the same God, okay? If that were true, if every human being on earth worshiped the same God, no matter what religion they were in, listen to me carefully. If everybody on earth worshiped the same God, no matter what religion they were in, there would be no such thing as idol worship. Because no matter what you worshiped, it would be the same God as what I worship. Does that make sense, brothers and sisters? So if everybody on the earth actually did worship the same God, no matter what their religion is called, no matter what type of style they worship, no matter what rules they have, if all of us are actually worshiping the same God, there'll be no such thing as an idol, because all of us would not be worshiping a different God. We'd all be worshiping the same one here. Which is why idol worship is rampant in today's society. Because Satan has deceived the earth into thinking everybody's worshiping the same God. And therefore, as they're worshiping idols, they're really, none of them, worshiping the Most High Creator. Okay? Because the Creator is very specific as to how he wants those that worship him to approach him. How do I know that? Well, aside from what we just read, and of course we can continue in these 10 commandments, but we're not going to. But he gave 10 laws that made up the covenant. But even before that, before he gave it to the nation of Israel, he made the covenant with Adam back after they got kicked out the garden. Even before it, when they were in the garden, he made the covenant. But Adam taught it to his first two children, Cain and Abel. And the Most High was specific about what he would accept and what he would not accept in worship with Cain and Abel. And it caused that specific way of worship that he gave made Cain so upset that he committed murder. The first recorded murder of a human being in the Bible. Genesis chapter 4. Let's take a look. Genesis chapter 4. Genesis 4, beginning at verse 1 and going down to verse 7. Actually, let's go down to verse 8. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Habal. And Abal was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh. And Abal, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And Yahweh had respect unto Abal and to his offering. But unto Cain, unto his offering, he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And Yahweh said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abal his brother, and slew him. That was Genesis chapter 4 from verse 1 to 8. Genesis chapter 4 from verse 1 to 8. So here you had two brothers. One, they both came to the one creator to bring an offering. One's offering was not accepted. It was rejected. The other one was accepted. And in the rejection, there was instruction given that could cause him to come back with an acceptable offering. Now, this is much deeper than I'm going to go into now. I'm going to leave it here on that point. But the point I'm making for tonight is that there was a specific way that the Creator ordained for these brothers to approach him. He rejected one and he accepted the other. So that if the Most High says, I have a specific way that I want you to approach me, and you decide to change that way, would you not be rejected? Would he not reject you if you are changing how he has told you to approach him? It's like you're being invited to the White House. And an invitation says you have to wear a bow tie and you have to wear a tuxedo. So in order to come to the White House on this invitation, you need to wear a bow tie, if you're a man, and a tuxedo. But you show up with a blazer, some slacks, nice blazer, nice shirt, no tie, some slacks, and some real expensive loafers. So you show up to the door and you're dressed nicely, but they won't let you in. Why? Because you were instructed as to what clothes you need to wear to come in, and you refused to get those clothes. Again, it's like the wedding feast that Messiah gave as a parable. He invited everybody to the wedding feast, but there was a man that showed up there and was not wearing a wedding garment. And the Bible says he was bound hand and foot and cast out, because apparently there was a dress code. And apparently he was knowledgeable of the dress code and decided to show up anyway, not being appropriately dressed. And they threw him out. The Most High has specific ways that he wants his people to approach him. And he does not give anyone permission to change that. So that in today's society, idol worship is rampant. Because everybody is led to believe that we all worship the same God when this is not true. Everybody is led to believe that all different types of people are chosen by white Jesus. And this is not true. There is, as I am speaking to you right now, according to Isaiah chapter 24. Let us look at Isaiah chapter 24. Again, we're looking tonight at Ezekiel 14, but we're just getting warmed up before we get there. But let us look at Isaiah 24. And let's go from verse 1 down to verse 6. Isaiah 24, with the emphasis on verse 5. Behold, Yahweh maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. So this is a prophecy about what is coming upon the earth. Why is it coming upon the earth? Verse 5 tells us, because they have transgressed the laws, broken, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. So they've changed the word of the Most High. They've changed the order in which he does things. They've broken his covenant. And therefore the earth is cursed. And that's where we are right now. Now, this curse started with the nation of Israel. What do you mean by that? Sin was on the earth from Adam. Yes, it was. But if you recall, as we have looked at Ezekiel, we went through this, how in Abraham, the whole earth was going to be blessed. In Abraham and in his seed, if you recall. And yes, the seed is Messiah, but it is the entire nation of the children of Israel. As they go, the earth goes. That's how it is. So through the nation, through its prophets, through its teachers, the earth is blessed. If the prophets and teachers of the nation of Israel are scattered and cursed and in sin, the earth is cursed. Okay? That brings us why we are at Ezekiel chapter 14. Because the earth is under the grand illusion of Asatan, that everybody worships the same God, no matter what religion you are, no matter how you worship, everybody, meaning the majority, the vast 99% of the earth. Somebody say 99%, that's a lot. Yeah, that leaves 1%. 1%. Well, if the earth is 7 billion people, let me give you some math. If the earth is 7 billion people, 10% of the earth is 700 million people. 1% of the earth is 70 million people. 70 million is still a lot of people. And I'm saying it probably isn't even that many. But 99% of the earth, or let me break it down for you, 6,930,000 at least are worshiping idols. Because the Bible says that the devil deceiveth the whole world. And I said that number wrong. Let me say it right. 6,930,000,000. That's better. 6,930,000,000 at least are worshiping idols. And less than probably 70 million are worshiping the true God. Less than that. Very small remnant. If you recall, only 8 people got on board Noah's Ark. A literal number of 8. Yes, you actually did, Isha. Thank you. So that brings us to Ezekiel 14. Let's take a look at Ezekiel 14. And let's look at verses 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3, Ezekiel 14. This is, and you're going to see this scene quite a bit in Ezekiel's prophecy. This is deep too. Then came certain of the elders of Yashar'AL unto me, and sat before me. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart, and put the stumbling block of their iniquity before their face. Should I be inquired of at all by them? Let's stop right here. So you're going to see this scene where elders come to sit before Ezekiel. See, brothers and sisters, the majority of people of planet Earth will not receive the truth. They will not. The Bible talks about a remnant receiving the truth, a remnant being saved, not by any means the majority. Okay, that being the case, most of the people are rejecting it. So now here in Ezekiel, if you recall, if you remember when we studied the beginning of Ezekiel, where the Most High told Ezekiel, I'm going to cause your tongue to cleave to the roof of your mouth. And the only time you're going to be able to speak is when I'm getting ready to speak through you. Remember that? He told him in the beginning, I think it was like chapter 2. He told him, he said, you're not going to be able to speak. I'm going to cause your tongue to cleave to the roof of your mouth. And when I get ready to speak through you, your tongue's going to be loose. So here's Ezekiel. He's sitting down. His tongue is tied. You know, no pun intended, but his tongue's tied. He can't talk. But then here come these elders. The elders, these are the religious leaders, the older men of the children of Israel, the leaders. They came and sat before him. And as they came and sat before him, the Most High Spirit starts getting ready to speak through Ezekiel. And the first thing he tells Ezekiel, before Ezekiel even opens his mouth, is he says, these men have set up idols. They're idol worshipers. These are Israelites. And the Most High is calling them, said they have set up idols in their heart and put stumbling block of their iniquity before their face. And then he asked Ezekiel a question. Should I be inquired of at all by them? Like, in other words, do I need to even listen to these people? Do I need to even hear their prayers? Do I even need to listen to them? They have idols, stumbling blocks in their heart. What does that mean? That means they have other things that are more important than the Creator in their hearts. And we talked just a few seconds ago about how all of us on the earth, specifically the religious world, are taught that everybody worships the same God. And we also brought out the logical fact that if all people of all religions worship the same God, then there's no such thing as a false God. I mean, that makes sense, right? If everybody on the earth, no matter what your religion, if you're a Taoist, a Buddhist, a Hindu, a Muslim of any sect, a Christian of any sect, a Zionist, no matter what you are, you worship the same God. Therefore, there's no such thing as a false God, because everybody's worshiping the same God. Unless everybody's worshiping a false God, then all there is a false God, and very few people are finding the true God. But if people are worshiping false gods, okay, then that means they're worshiping idols. That means they have idols in their hearts before the Most High. Are you following me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Well, and let me just take this off the table right off the bat. Let me take this off the table right off the bat. There are people that want to serve the true God, but because of the plethora or the multitude of falsehoods out in the air on planet Earth, the people are confused and they don't know where to turn for the true God. But they want to worship him. And if they got an opportunity to know who he was, they would worship him. And these type of people are scattered throughout all the different religions of the earth. They're scattered. They're the minority in whatever religion they're in. They want to worship the true God. But because of their ignorance, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, I'm just saying they're ignorant. And because of their lack of knowledge and their confusion of all the things that are on the earth today, they don't know they're worshiping a false God. What about those people, somebody might ask? It would be a good question. But again, I'd like to bring back us to this point about the Father, that we know, that even the heathen that don't know would get comfort. Yah is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Why is that important? Because even the most ignorant person, that is the most confused individual, because of the plethora of religious choices on the earth, a sincere heart that wants to serve their Creator, he will reveal himself to that person eventually. It's like you and I, as we look back over our lives, right? Our lives have taken many turns, have they not? We've been into and out of many different things in many different places in the course of our lives. Yet here we are. And how did we get here? How did we get to the point where we're Israelites and following the Bible to give honor and glory only to the Father? That our only desire and aim in this flesh is to give glory to our Creator. That's the only thing we want. We don't want money. We don't want fame. We don't want fortune. Okay? We want to give glory to the Creator in obedience to him. That's all we want. How do we get to that point? Because wherever we were in years past, he knew that what was in our heart. And wherever we were, wherever the avenues he used, whatever churches, religion, people that we had to come across, good or bad, led us to where we are right now. Led us to where we are right now. Therefore, we are bearing witness. We could bear witness that the Spirit of the Father is able to lead us from wherever we are, from wherever situation we're in, if our heart's desire is to serve him and to give him praise. He will make sure we be found of him and he be found of us. He makes sure of that. Okay? But on the other hand, if in our hearts we really want to serve ourselves, if given half the opportunity, we would exalt ourselves as high as Asatan himself. If given half the chance, we would turn our nose up at the Creator. It'd be hard for us to find him. It'd be hard for us to find him. Because he knows our hearts. He knows who would serve him and who wouldn't. He knows the person that was born in Pakistan, in a Muslim culture, who is 10th generation in that culture, and who is dissatisfied in his life, whose heart is empty with his religion, and doesn't know any other way. He knows that man. He knows that man's hearts. And he knows how to reach that man. He might have to send some Christian over there to talk to that man, to get that man away from Islam. He might. He has ways to reach that man that we don't even know. Or the person that's born in Vietnam as an atheist and raised as an atheist and has never been involved with any religion, but understand that there is a Creator. They can see the sun rising and setting. They can see the birds. They can see the animals. And their common sense says there's a Creator. He knows how to reach that person. His spirit cannot be limited by a state, by somebody's fake religion, or by their church. The spirit cannot be stopped by these things. He knows. But that person that shows up to their Baptist church every Sunday, or their Seventh-day Adventist church every Sabbath, to show off what kind of clothes they have, or what kind of car they drive, or how much money they make, or wants to front with fake hair, huh? That person, he knows their heart. He knows they would never serve him. And even as they walk into that building, they're serving Asatan. Okay? He knows that. So these elders had idols in their hearts. And today, you know, the Bible tells us there's really nothing new under the sun. There really is nothing new under the sun. The same basic things cause idol worship today that caused it thousands of years ago. Same basic things: the desire for fame or fortune, the desire for power or riches, the desire for sex, the desire for conquering, bloodthirstiness. Same things always been around. Greed, right? Same things always been around thousands of years since the dawn of time. It's the same things that cause idol worship and stumbling blocks today. Same thing that caused the children of Israel to fall at that time. Okay, same thing. And again, that's the difference between a person that is a servant of the Creator, the true Creator of the nation of Israel, versus people that aren't. The person that is the servant of the Creator only has in their view the glory of their Creator. When you're living your life to the full, as Messiah said he wanted to teach us, that means you're living your life completely given over to the concept of perfect righteousness, holiness, and truth. You're giving yourself over to the concept of spirit that can only come from the Father, that will cause you to bring him glory. When you don't have that in view, you have something in view for yourself. And when self is on the throne, that's a whole different God. That's a whole different God. Self is a whole different thing. Okay? So these elders came before Ezekiel, and the Most High in his spirit speaks to Ezekiel and says, should I be at all inquired of by them? You see, many people go to churches. I'm about to say something, and it's going to offend some people, but yet I must speak the truth. 99% or more of the people that show up to these Christian churches, these Muslim mosques, these Judaism synagogues, are not being heard by the Creator. They're not being even paid attention to by the Creator. He asked the question, should I be inquired of at all by them? And these men that were sitting before Ezekiel had the blood of Abraham running through their veins. The blood of Abraham, the friend of the Creator, was running through their veins, and he asked the question, should I be inquired of at all by them? So somebody might logically ask, well, are you saying, brother, that the majority of people that are out here going to these churches and Sundays and Saturdays and praying in them pews are not being heard by the Creator? Well, who's answering their prayers? Who do you think? Who do you think? Why should Asatan be anywhere else but in church? The most hypocrites are there. His most ardent followers are in the churches. In the church, and some of y'all bear witness, tell me if I'm speaking the truth. Okay? Some of the most heinous pedophiles are in churches. Wait, am I lying? Some of the most heinous pedophiles are in churches. Some of the worst wife beaters you ever saw are in churches. Okay? In churches. In the churches. Some of the greediest people you will ever find on earth, ever, are in churches. In churches. Okay? Some of the most self-centered people on planet Earth are faithful church members. Wait, did you hear what I said? Faithful church members. Wait, some of the most buck wildest women you ever met in churches. In fact, when we was kids, when we was teenagers out there chasing women, chasing girls in the street, all of us knew, oh, you want to get one that's real wild? Get them in the church. Get one that's in the church. Find one in the church. She'll do anything for you. Some of the craziest people, I mean, mentally off. I mean, cuckoo in the church. Tell me if I'm lying. Tell me if I told a lie yet. Tell me now. So why should Asatan be anywhere else? Because he's getting all of his glory, because all of these things come from him. Huh? All the harlotry, the pedophilia, all the greed, the avarice, all the self-centeredness and narcissism. That gives him glory. Why would he want to be anywhere else except where he's getting glory? That's where he is. And I heard some people say, well, the church is a hospital for sinners. Let me see now. I done read this Bible 15 times and I have never read that. I have never read that. Have y'all ever read that in the scriptures? Church is a hospital for sinners. Have you ever read that anywhere? I've never read that. And let me ask you, if a church is such a hospital for sinners, right? And they're trying to say that you know, like the Israelite temple and the Israelite house of the tabernacle was like the church. That's what they try to tell you, you know, when they say bring you all the tithes into the storehouse. They trying to tell you that the church is the storehouse, right? Well, let me ask you then, if the church is a hospital for sinners, right? There were these two brothers. There were these two brothers. Their father was a Levite, right? Their father was a Levite. These two brothers, and these two brothers, whose father was a Levite. In fact, their father was a high priest, and these two brothers, they came into the tabernacle drunk. I mean, obviously they were sinners. They came into the tabernacle of the congregation drunk, right? And when they came in there drunk, what happened to him? Did the Most High put his arm around him and said, "Son, let me talk to y'all and let me counsel y'all and how y'all need to approach me and let me talk to you." When Nadab and Abihu came in there drunk, what happened to him? The hospital for sinners, I mean. Well, let me tell you. When they came in there, them two brothers was struck down dead. Not only was they struck down dead by the Most High, Moses told their father, don't you cry for him, because you be destroyed. You cry for him, you're going to be destroyed. Because the anointing oil was on them when they went in there. You cry for him, you're going to be destroyed. Don't do it. They go to that hospital for sinners garbage. Nah, man. The Most High wants us to approach him with a heart of humility. Listen, a heart that's humble, acknowledging your sin, acknowledging your transgression, and ready to receive the blood of the Messiah to cleanse you from your sin and to receive of the Father's righteousness for the purpose that you can give glory to the Father. That's what he wants. Oh, he knows we're all sinners. But don't come thinking you could just come to him any kind of way. Oh, no. That's what happens when you have an idol in your heart. You start thinking you could show up like some hoe to the church. And that anybody that says something about it is judging you. That's what you start to think. I told this story before, but I'm going to tell it now. Maybe some of y'all listening on YouTube land haven't heard this story, but I'm because this illustrates my point. There was a time in my life, my wife will tell you, and I'll tell you now, that I was very interested in becoming as wealthy as I could with US dollars. I mean, I was going after, I declared openly that my goal was to be a billionaire. Of course, y'all say, yo, you must have been crazy. Yes, I was. And during that time, I would find myself, as you will find yourself if you ever have such an aspiration. I found myself dealing with people that any person that wants to live a moral life would never want to deal with, because I was after green dividends, hundreds. And in my travels, I ran across one particular scoundrel. And this particular scoundrel, who I was also a scoundrel myself, so we was two birds of a feather. He was going to church. See why I know what's in churches? This particular scoundrel was going to church. Now, he was going to I think it was a Pentecostal church. Maybe it was a Baptist church. I don't know. It was one of them where they spoke in tongues and such. Me, myself, was going to an SDA church. Now, here, both of us, money grubbing scoundrels, okay? And I'm thinking my church is better than his church, and he thinking his church is better than my church. And both of us lost. But anyway, we was about to do some business, me and this particular scoundrel. And we needed to meet with one of his lawyers. And he said, I want you to come with me to my church tonight. The lawyer's going to be there. We can deal with the paperwork after church. It was during the week, like Wednesday night or something. I said, fine. So I went to the brother's church, and I don't know, he disappeared somewhere, and I went and sat somewhere. I had to go to the bathroom. Came back, sat in the pew, and I'm noticing, first off, I'm looking at the crowd, people coming in, because we were there early, people coming in. First, there was this man, he was standing on the pulpit. He had on a purple suit, and he seemed to be leading the people in song. And they had a band, and the band was, they was jamming loud. It wasn't even like what you would consider like a music of solemnity. It was like music that was really loud, like you could jam to it, like you could party with it, and people was kind of dancing to it. And coming into this particular church, I started, listen, I'm a grown man, I'm a healthy man. Okay, I'm saying that to say, if some woman shows up walking by me and her thighs are showing, and the cheeks of her behind are showing, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna notice that. I'm telling you the truth. I'm gonna notice that. You hear what I'm testing? I'm not gonna say, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't notice. No, I saw it. So I started seeing several of these type of women coming into that church. And I thought to myself, well, we was in a big city. So I thought, well, maybe these are prostitutes. Seriously, I thought maybe they were prostitutes and that they were trying to come to church, maybe, get their life right. That's the way I thought about it. Then as all of the crowd coming in, this one brother walks in, man. See, I'm from New York. If you from New York, especially like I grew up in the 60s and 70s, you know what a pimp looks like. Right? If you from, you know what a pimp looks like. So I watched this brother walk in, brothers and sisters, and this man had 5 women around him. They were all kind of dressed like the women I had seen before. So obviously I thought this was a pimp. And he had his hair was he had that Jerry curl stuff in his hair, and he had on a silk suit. It was like white. And dude was clean. You hear me? And homie sat down, and the women all sat down around him, and he was on the side in the pews while the dude in the purple suit was doing his thing. So the ceremony went on, and the music got louder and louder and louder. And matter of fact, I'm telling you the truth, the music got so loud, I felt the place like it was shaking. All right. Actually, to be honest with you, I started getting a little scared. I was getting a little scared. Like, if I wasn't there to chase that money, I'd be out of there. I was a little scared because I was expecting something different, So at the end of the loud music, everybody stood up in the church. Like, by this time, there was probably like, I don't know, maybe 200 people there. And they stood up and they yelled the top of their lungs, ah, like that. I'm telling you, I was scared to death. And I don't even know what. Oh, I got up after that. I got up, and I had to go to the bathroom. I went in the back, and then I waited for them to finish. I did get up out of there. And after they finished, that's my boy came out, and I didn't see his boy, the lawyer. I said, "What happened to your boy?" He said he ain't show up. He said, "Did you see? What'd you think of my service?" Well, he said, "Did you see my pastor?" I said, "Yeah, that chubby dude in the purple suit on the stage that was leading everybody." He said, "No, that's brother so and so. He's a nice brother. No, my pastor. He the one had on that white silk suit." I said, "Wait, the dude with the Jerry Curl that came in with the women?" He said, "Yeah, that's the pastor so and so, man." I said, "Oh shoot, yo." Then he said to me, "Well, what you think of my pastor? What you think of my church?" I said, "Man, I ain't gonna say nothing about your church, man. That's your church." I said, "That's your church. That's where you worship. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I got my church. You got your church." And we walking toward the car in the parking lot now. It's a summer night, it's warm outside. Walking toward the car, his car. He grabs my arm. He said, "Well, yo, brother, I asked you a question. I want you to tell me what you thought about my church." And I said, "Brother, I don't want to get into it with you. Leave it alone, man." I said, "This your church." He said, "No, I want to know." I said, "You want to know?" He said, "I said, that man is a pimp." And I said, "He pimping all of y'all." I said, "Here you are scrubbing, we trying to hustle to make some dollars, and this dude got 5 cars and 2 mansions, and you giving him more money." And he just chuckled. But that's how it is. He and I were scoundrels chasing dollars. And he was going to a church, and I was going to a church of scoundrels chasing dollars. Pimps. That's the truth. Idols. And the idols in my mind and the idols in his mind blocked us from seeing the truth. Blocked us from gaining understanding. Now, I don't know what happened to him. I know he stole a whole bunch of money from me and a bunch of other people and disappeared. But me, myself, the Most High had to spank me hard, including that spanking where I got the money stolen and other spankings, in order for me to wake up, because he cared about me. And I praise his name that he did. He had to knock me on the balls of my butt many times. It wasn't just one time or 2 times, many times. Because your boy was real hard-headed. You hear what this Bible said? We read about it. He said, "I'm sending you, Ezekiel, to a stiff-necked people." I know all about it. I got my PhD in stiff-neck. You hear what I'm saying? I got my PhD in stiff-neck. I know all about it. And I know you don't want to be stiff-necked when he's trying to correct you, because it hurt. That whooping hurts. It does. My wife and I were just discussing it today. Some of the stuff he has put us through and how he warned me about it beforehand. Warned me. Look, brother, this is what I'm gonna have to bring you through. And all I got printed on my forehead at that time. See, now I want the Father's name on my forehead. At that time, I wanted Benjamin Franklin on my forehead. You hear what I'm saying? I wanted Benjamin Franklin on my forehead at that time. But now I want the Father's Spirit on my forehead, man. I want his seal. And I praise him for that. I really do. I praise him for that. Which is why I know money can't do nothing for you but get you in trouble. And it's an idol. And that's generally the idol of most of the Israelites today. Most of the Israelites today are chasing dollars, either chasing it in entertainment or some church dude trying to chase it, make you chase it and tell you you're going to get blessed by giving him money or her. Money is the big idol today. The desire for wealth, the desire to gain wealth and get rich and think that you're going to be free that way is what's killing a lot of Israelites today. It's the stumbling block that's stopping us from coming to the truth. It's the stumbling block that stops, because when you have such an idol, you won't take a stand by yourself for straight truth. You will not do it. You won't. But when you have only the Father's glory in view, when you are only seeking him, and like I said, he had to spank me extremely hard, many years, and my poor wife dragged through it with me. Because of that experience, at this point, man, somebody come to me talking about, I want you to come to this meeting, gonna teach us how to get rich. I'm walking the other way. In fact, I might get mad at you. Or if I hear another person talking about we need economic independence. We need to start our own businesses in our own neighborhood. Hey, listen, I love Malcolm X, and he used to say that stuff, but he didn't know what he was talking about. You cannot be free with dollar bills printed by your oppressor. Listen to me carefully. You cannot be free with dollar bills printed by your oppressor. I mean, does that make any sense? Testing. You will never be free if you're dependent on dollar bills printed by your oppressor. And if you go ahead and try to create your own currency, ask the Prime Minister Mugabe how that worked out. Ask him what his dollar bill is worth right now. See, this is Babylon. This is Babylon, man. The Bible prophesied it's going to come to this. This is where it's at right now. And why? Because he doesn't want us worrying or concerning ourselves or dying for these dollar bills. Render to Caesar what Caesar's. The Federal Reserve notes belong to him. We belong to the Most High. He wants our hearts. He wants our minds. He wants our bodies, our desire. He wants all of that. The dollars, they can keep that. That's going to be worthless in a short time anyway. And most people don't even have dollars today. Most people don't. Even the ones that consider rich. You know what they got? You know what they got today? Credit. Huh? Somebody with credit to roll up with a brand new whatever, Lexus, Benz, Beamer, whatever. They roll up with that and somebody says, oh, you're doing well. No, you just got credit. And you better keep that credit before they take that car too. Or they get some mansion and fill it with new furniture. Say, man, they got a lot of money. No, they got a lot of credit. Because in today's economy, very few people are really rich. You start getting into that 10, 20, $30 million range, then you might start talking about something. Other than that, you can forget it. Especially if you're a Hebrew. You can forget it. He's trying to bless us by stripping that stuff from us. But you see, it's not new. Back in the day, these are the elders. They came to the prophet and the Most High Spirit spoke to him and said, shall I be inquired of by these? Do I need to listen to these people? Do I need to listen to these people? Let us continue. Ezekiel chapter 14, from verse 4 down to verse 6. Therefore speak unto them, and say unto them, thus saith the Most High Yahweh. Every man of the house of Israel that setteth up his idols in his heart, and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face, and cometh to the prophet, I Yahweh will answer him, that cometh according to the multitude of his idols, that I may take the house of Israel in their own heart, because they are all estranged from me through their idols. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, repent, and turn yourselves from your idols, and turn away your faces from all your abominations. Praise the Most High. So what he's trying to say, I hear people in these Sunday churches that chase these dollar idols. And listen, this is what they say. This is what they say. The Lord showed me this, or the Lord showed me that. And all they doing is chasing dollars. The Lord showed me. I got the gift of X. I got the gift of healing. And you know what? If they would have hit lotto tomorrow, Lord wouldn't see them. If they would have hit the 100 million tomorrow, the Lord would no longer see them. Well, he ain't seeing them now, truth be told. What he's saying to all of us, repent and turn yourselves from your idols and turn away your faces from all your abominations. That's what he's saying. As Israelites, that's what he's telling us, because we were preordained, pre-chosen, predetermined by the Most High through the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to give him praise. We were created for that purpose, to give him praise, not to worship any other gods, not to chase the Caucasian man's dollar bills, not to chase his Babylonian idols, not to worry about those things, but to follow after perfect righteousness. To enter into covenant with the Creator. To walk in his ways of truth and righteousness for his name's sake. We were created for that. Anything else, he's going to say, should I be inquired of by these people? And I want you to notice, he said, I'm going to answer you myself. Now, you just heard me say he's not hearing your prayers, right? Unless he's trying to reach you, then he's going to spank you. So when he says he's going to answer you, like he answered me when I said, Lord, I want $1 billion. I want to be a billionaire. Can you make me a billionaire? I did pray the prayer. I said, I want you to make me a billionaire. I will do whatever it takes, whatever I have to lose, whatever I have to go through. I want the billion. And I was serious. And he said, oh, just like he's saying here, you gonna deal with your idols and you gonna come before me? I'm gonna answer you. Let's read from verse 7 down to verse 8. Ezekiel 14, 7 and 8. Yeah, I'm gonna answer you. Watch. For every one of the house of Israel or of the stranger that sojourneth in Israel, which separateth himself from me, and setteth up his idols in his heart, and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face, and cometh to a prophet to inquire of him concerning me, I, Yahweh, will answer him by myself, and I will set my face against that man, and will make him a sign and a proverb, and I will cut him off from the midst of my people, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Yeah, oh yeah, he's going to answer me. He's going to set his face against me, so that everywhere I turn, I'm getting smacked. The IRS, the bills, everybody coming against me, tires falling off my car, I can't get nothing right. Repo man coming for my car, everything going wrong. Health getting bad, clothes getting old, got holes in my shoes and my pants, everything going bad. Oh yeah, he will make it happen. Don't play with it. You Israelites, when he made a covenant on Mount Sinai with our fathers, he wasn't playing. He was not playing. And it was not just with them. He said it's with you and your children forever. He's not playing. You know when he has left you. You know the sign when he has left you? If I was a billionaire today, he would have left me. That would mean he was gone. If I was $100 million man, you guys wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't be talking to y'all right now. And I would not be with the Most High. When he gives you that money, that's when you know he's gone. See, it's the opposite of what you are taught to think. You are taught to think. Tell me if I'm wrong. When you see an Israelite like a Michael Jordan and they're worth $1 billion, or you see an Israelite and they're a famous actor and they're getting 10, 20 million a picture, like Jamie Foxx, or you see an Israelite and they sing a song and everybody wants to hear the song and they're getting millions of dollars, like Mariah Carey. And you say to yourself, wow, they are blessed. what you really should ask is blessed by who? Because the Most High not giving his Israelites this. Most High is not doing that. He said right here what he's looking for. Repent and turn yourselves from your idols. That's what he said. He didn't say, I'm going to bless you with Caesar's money. I'm gonna make you a billionaire in Caesar's money, multi-millionaire, private jets and all that. That's not what he said. Somebody might say, well, Abraham was rich. You Abraham? I don't know. Your name Abraham? He called you from Ur of the Chaldees to walk in the wilderness at age 75? Did he do that? You Abraham? Well, Solomon was rich. Look what happened with Solomon. He lost his soul behind all that money. And then women lost his soul. You want to be Solomon? Do you? Do you really? I think Biggie said it right. More money. You know what comes with more money? Answer me. What comes with more money? Really? Seriously. What comes with more money? Y'all know. What comes with more money? More problems. More money, more problems. That's what comes with more money. More problems. More money, more problems. And yet people dying, people killing themselves, people breaking their neck to get. We're at the end of time. What Ezekiel was being told for the elders of Israel 2,500 years ago is the same for the Israelites right now. In fact, it's even more now than then. It's even more now. Why? Because we're at the end. This is the climax. This is where it's all hitting the fan. This is where it's about to come off. There's going to be some countries, right, that appear to be very prosperous right now. You're going to see them deal with famine. Famine. Like other you only see famine in third world countries right now. You're going to start seeing them in developed nations. You're going to start seeing that. He's going to bring it. Famine, pestilence. He's going to bring it. It's coming. The only ones going to get fed are the faithful 144,000 and those that are with them. Only ones that's not going to be drinking blood. The faithful 144,000 and those that are with them. And right now, that same 144,000, they ain't no millionaires. They're not trying to get to be millionaires. Trying to handle their business, pay their bills, but get the seal of the Most High. That's what they're trying to do. Get the seal of the Most High on their foreheads so that they can give him praise and honor and glory. Because brothers and sisters, we are getting to the time very soon where you and I, and it's not now, but it's coming. I can feel it. We're getting to the time where we're going to be asked, listen to me carefully, to walk away from everything that you know. And some people are. That's happening with some people right now. Let me not lie. It's happening with some people already. But we're getting to the time where we're going to be asked to walk away from everything and everyone that you knew. Job, house, car, friends, family. You're going to be asked to walk away from all of it. And it's not me. I'm not going to ask you. The Father's Spirit is going to tell you. Just like what happened in the days of the Israelites in the book of Acts. You never heard the apostles say to the people, go sell all your land and give us the money. And yet the people were selling land and giving the apostles the money. Why were they doing that? You never heard John the Baptist say, come out to the wilderness and hear me speak. And yet There were crowds of people coming out to the wilderness to hear John the Baptist speak. Why was that? The Father's Spirit talked to people and caused them to do what he wants them to do. Draws people. The Father's Spirit does that. And it's that same Spirit that's soon going to be calling people away from jobs, family, cars, house, bank accounts, everything. The Israelites were in a society, a very advanced and developed society in Mizraim, Egypt. They weren't living in no backward society. The Egyptian society, it is known. In fact, most of what Europeans have today, they stole from ancient Egyptians and ancient Babylonians. I mean, stole. So art, culture, mathematics, science, anthropology, all kind of things that you see today that you think come from Europe actually came from Egypt, ancient Egypt. And so the Israelites were in a very advanced society when they were in Egypt back in that time, despite what they show with Charlton Heston and all that. And they were told to leave that. They wouldn't, as you're going to see when we get to Ezekiel 20. So then they were afflicted so that they wanted to leave. And then they did. Plagues came, they were obedient, and they left. They went into Babylon and Persia. They were in an advanced society. Didn't want to leave. But then the prophets came, Haggai, Zechariah, Zephaniah, saying, listen, my house is in ruins in Jerusalem. You're supposed to be going back and building that. What you doing here? And they finally end up going back. The Most High Spirit will guide us where we should go, but the time is coming so that the people that have idols in their heart, whether it be fame or money or fortune, they're not going to leave any of that. They're not even going to leave even the illusion of it, even the desire for it. Even if they don't have it, they're not going to leave their desire for it to go with the Most High Spirit unless they have a sincere desire to give the Creator glory. And there's going to be some people that we're going to think, oh, that person's going to serve the Most High, and they won't. And you'll be surprised. And there'll be other people that you think are the most selfish and narcissistic, and they will give up everything and follow the Most High. And you never knew they had it in their heart. But the Most High knows them that are his. And the people that belong to him are going to do just what he says now. Repent and turn yourselves from your idols and turn away your faces from all your abomination. They're going to do that. And there are those like me, stiff-necked ones that he has mercy on, that he's going to spank hard. And he's spanking them hard in order to wake them up, like he did with me. So you don't want to go back there if you catch that whooping. Like I said, you don't be like me. I had to catch a number of them. I was bad. I had to catch a number of whoopings. You see, it's that whole Israelite stiff neck, man. Combine that with that Jamaican, and that's a bad combination. That's why I had to get a real bad spanking. Don't be like me. Turn from your sin now. Give honor to the Creator. There is nothing more rewarding than his Spirit resting upon you. There's nothing more peaceful than him being with you. Nothing. I'm telling you from experience, brothers and sisters. I'm going to stop here at verse 8. We'll continue tomorrow by the grace of the Most High. Let's have a word of prayer.